Yes, let me answer the second question. Sedinam Tamaku, as you already indicated, she was convicted by a court in Ghana here. Before we left office, we had made all necessary arrangements for our counterparts in the US to commence the proceedings there. And then we left office. I'm happy to know that the AG is also pursuing that course. I mean, that's the way to go. Now, when it comes to extradition
Clarify for us. Had you activated the extradition, as in you had done the extradition packets and forwarded them to the US government by the time you left office?
Yes, Samson, I can confirm that.
Okay.
I can confirm that. Everything was done before we left office. Before we even left office, I'm on record to have said that we had even been told where she was living, and they were even tracing her almost on a daily basis.
Right. You told me right here on Newsfile. Now, and also on the law program. Now, why do you think it is taking forever? When they want extradition on our points, we are very much in a hurry. We arrest the people and even, question them, embarrass them, and put it on social media before we extradite them.
Yes, I'm also surprised that when it comes to the extraditing fugitives to us, it becomes a problem. It takes some time. When they are questioned, the issue that they say they have a lot of things to go through, just like ours too, we go through a lot of processes. Maybe as lawyers, usually when our clients are ordered to be extradited, maybe don't take the matter on appeal, so they're able to have them extradited with ease. But on the other side, some of them there may want to exhaust every single legal process there. I mean, maybe that might account for it, but I'm not comfortable with the delays that we have from their end. But the broader picture now that I want to bring on board with respect to this discussion is as to whether the extradition between Ghana and US is fit for purpose. I mean, that's the first point. And whether indeed there is an extradition treaty between Ghana and the US. Samson, the treaty I'm talking about is 1931, which was signed between the UK, Great Britain, and the US. At the time, Ghana was not independent. And so it is argued that this particular 1931 treaty is binding on Ghana as being one of the existing laws under Article 11 of the Constitution. I remember when we were in office, there was a challenge to this extradition treaty of 1931. And I think in the case of the Republic versus Ayorinde, Abiola Ayorinde, and others, the Supreme Court in July last year, 2024, made a pronouncement on the extradition treaty between Ghana and the US by saying that so far as the Great Britain, Ghana was under Great Britain, and the Great Britain had this treaty with the US, then that treaty is part of the existing laws of Ghana and Article 11 of the Constitution. That is the law. Personally speaking, I disagree. I think that as an independent state, we must have a standalone treaty with the US. In that treaty, we can detail certain things that we think we also want them to do when we want to have that kind of reciprocity. But if we keep relying on this 1931 extradition treaty, it's because it has affirmed it's constitutional. That means that we are using this colonial legislation to tie our necks. Now, when it comes to Mr. Ofori-Atta,
form over substance. It has worked for us. We have used it over the years. Why are we now raising issues about it?
Samson, Ghana is an independent Republican state. Ghana, upon attainment of independence, has had this parliament, passed various laws. We've entered into bilateral treaties with various countries. What stops us from having our own with the US? The courts are saying it is constitutional. No worries, I disagree. But I personally think that it is time that we had our own with the US.
Yes, upon independence, you didn't discard all laws. Just like there have been military regimes, you have not discarded all those laws. So what is the problem? Why is it that when we are talking about the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta, now we have to, even the Attorney General has to make a debate about this, and then you two have all the commentary. What is it for? We have been using it without question. So what's the problem?
I agree with you. There are no questions about what we have now. It is constitutional. We have to use that one to extradite Mr. Ofori-Atta to Ghana. But moving forward, I think we have a stand-alone bilateral treaty with the US.
The thing is not broken. What are you fixing?
It is not broken, but I think that this colonial legislation should not still be hanging on the neck of Ghanaians. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
It is a legislation that Great Britain, if you read carefully, as I said, the courts have delivered a verdict on it. I disagree with the court because if you take a look at the judgment delivered in July and the analysis made, I have my own opinion on the conclusion that they reached, but that is the decision of the court.
Yeah, your opinion is overridden by the Supreme Court's decition, which you have told us about.
So let me go to the current situation. In the US, if you look at the 1931 extradition treaty, before you can extradite a fugitive, or what they call criminal fugitive, from the US to Ghana, you have to go through certain processes. The first one is where you have to put in a request. Ghana has to put in a request, as we are told the AG has done. When the request is received by the US, they will have to evaluate it, analyze to see whether it meets the threshold. And if it meets the threshold, then they will trigger the process to go to the courts and have the order decreed. Now we are told that Ofori-Atta has engaged lawyers. I personally speaking, it is right to engage lawyers.
That issue.
And I do not see whether it's a top-notch lawyer or lawyer. And most of the times, Hamson, lawyers that you underrate can mess you up. Lawyers that you underrate can mess you up. Or maybe the AG ought not to have given that bit about top US lawyers. I said he has engaged lawyers. He was also ready. He was to step in and immediately, because he's more than capable.
Why do you think he was telling the public about the fact that, you know, even if they don't succeed in the circuit, they could go up further, they could go up until they get to the Supreme Court in the US? Why was the AG interested in telling us all of this?
Maybe he's trying to prepare the minds of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
That is it's not a short journey. It may take some time. That one, I have no problem with it. Yeah. My problem has to do with the description of the lawyers that he has engaged. Whether they are top-notch, every lawyer is a lawyer. But I believe in one thing, that if the processes that we have submitted to the US meet their threshold, the US will have to act. If you look at the treaty, the Article 3 of the treaty, it details the offenses under which the extradition could be triggered in the US. I've looked at a charge sheet which has been prepared by the OSP. I'm not going to make any judgment on it, but that charge has to be evaluated by the US to see whether there is merit to warrant the commencement of extradition proceedings in the US. But per the treaty also, Mr. Ofori-Atta has certain defense that he can raise. One of them is when he alleges that he's being politically pursued or prosecuted.
Yeah, that's my point.
If that argument succeeds in the US court, he will not be brought to Ghana.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. I easy. It gets everything.
Because you know there's a convention against torture.
Exactly.
And if you look at Article 3 of that convention, or what we call non-refoulement, if a fugitive raised the issue that if I'm brought to this country, I'm sent to this country, I'm going to be captured, I can assure if he's able to prove it, that fugitive will not be brought to Ghana. And so it's a long journey that we have to go. But that's
why should we be entertaining fears about things that happen in some military regimes and undemocratic states? Why would Ken Ofori-Atta suggest to anybody anywhere in the world that if he's standing trial in Ghana, he will be tortured and all those things? Why?
It's a defense available, whether it's going to activate it. I'm just trying to give a general education. I mean, we are in the democratic state. Issues of human rights, people may want to raise them because they're constitutional rights. But I'm just highlighting some of the things that his lawyers there are likely to raise when it comes to the extradition proceedings in the US.
That would be very damaging to the reputation of Ghana to suggest anywhere in the world as one of the most important citizens. Ken Ofori-Atta was a global citizen even before he became a minister. Why would he like to tell any country that Ghana will have a kangaroo court system, your rights will not be respected and so on? Why would he attempt to do anything like that?
I mean, he has not attempted doing it. And I'm not going to say he's going to do it. But Samson, this morning you gave your take. I mean, the 1 minute or 2 minute take that you gave. A situation where someone was arrested in handcuffs at the back, if you watch the video.
That's right.
And he was being told to say, admit this. And being filmed. I mean, it's not something that it's not a good sight to behold. It's something that we must take, as you said. Some of these things are the very things that we're supposed to look at. The Ghana, the way you interview their suspects, you take them through that form of soft torture or torture in a way.
Okay.
And so, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the learned AG has given us the information about Ofori-Atta. Ofori-Atta definitely have his day in court in the US. Let's see how it goes. But whether top-notch or low-notch, we are all lawyers, and lawyers in Ghana should face them squarely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He posted a caveat. He said, well, I'm not saying that to say I am afraid. That's what he said. We are not scared of any of those lawyers. Well, he was trained in various other places and call it top-notch universities in the US. So he would, that's the last thing he would be afraid of.